Everyone, welcome back to Space Engineers. I almost said Kerbal Space Program for some reason. We are continuing the work out here on the experimental drilling platform, expanding it out to see if we can get rotors and pistons and drills and everything to work nicely together so that I can get large quantities of various resources a lot more easily. I'm hoping that we'll be able to just kind of build some sort of a platform that can lift up, move around, drill this big core hole thing down through the ice, use hydrogen as fuel since there's ice everywhere here, and hopefully we'll be able to gather, probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions of units of nickel and iron and stuff so that it's a lot easier than sending out the small mining ship time and time again. I'm trying to set up some groups here so that I can manage this a little bit more reasonably. This is kind of terrifying because, like I said in the last episode, rotors and pistons and stuff are usually doom. I know that the safety lock override, has helped a lot, but a lot of bad things can still happen with pistons, I think, and it's going to be a big, expensive, time-consuming build here, so I'm hoping this doesn't literally blow up in my face. But what I want to do is kind of just tinker with some settings here, and then we'll fire this thing up, see what it can do. Alright, so the moment of truth has arrived here. Let's go ahead and fire up the drills. Get those things going. Well, it's a little wobbly. It's drilling, though. Kind of scary. I don't know if I had turned on the safety locks on all of the pistons, but basically the tactic I end up coming up with works pretty good. And it seems like those safety interlocks really do make a pretty big difference. I'm not sure exactly how far down we need to go here. I don't know which piston is which either. So I'm going to end up having to come up with some sort of a naming scheme so I can keep track of which piston is which. But the general idea is we're just going to take it nice and easy, not going to go crazy. I want to make sure that we don't push the drills into the ice to the point where anything breaks, but I don't want to go so incredibly slowly that it takes millions of years to get this drilling done, because it's supposed to increase my efficiency. So we'll just go down 1 meter to start, just to be on the safe side here. I'm going to let that do its thing. It looks like the ground is kind of uneven too. I guess that's going to be something I'm going to have to think about with landing this thing. Probably bad to have the drills at too much of an angle relative to the ground, so kind of fun. It's majestic. It's kind of exciting that this might actually work out. Alright, so obviously a little more rotor force probably wouldn't hurt. Gonna keep tinkering with these settings. I'm easing it up slowly because I don't want to get to a point where everything just torques itself to bits and explodes in my face. So this is just kind of a long break-in period. I'm gonna end up falling in that hole from our previous work here too. There's the hole right next to my platform there that is from the previous drilling. I didn't realize how uneven the ground was. I think because there's not enough cargo capacity, or it looks like the drills are leaning to one side because the ones on the left are in contact with the ground, so they're full of ice, and the ones on the right are not, and so it's kind of throwing the balance off, which I'm gonna have to build a lot of cargo blocks on this thing, I think, to really manage the cargo. And I gotta imagine we're gonna end up with just silly amounts of ice until we get some hydrogen tanks and all that stuff going. Probably going to need to put some ejectors and that kind of stuff on this thing as well so that it doesn't just get completely stuffed. Yeah, everything's kind of twirling and wobbling in the wind here still, so obviously it's going to get a little bit better as things balance out weight-wise and everything, but it seems like it's not going to explode, at least not yet, knock on wood. The weight is starting to balance out a little bit now, so it's a little bit more even in its drilling. Those large ship drills seem to really clear about 2.5 meters, like a full block basically, from in front of them, so that's kind of good to know. There's kind of, and I imagine it can get past the drill head just a little bit too, so it can actually drill out a pretty huge amount of volume at once. It's a little scary standing near these things. Pretty sure that thing would kill me pretty bad if I got too close. Kind of an interesting way to level the ground at a base area too. Although you end up with this weird washboard effect, I don't think it ever really levels it out completely. I wish there was a way to replace voxels when they get destroyed, because we got a couple dents near my base. Like to just shovel some snow in and pack it in so that it looks a little bit nicer. But what are you gonna do? It is what it is, limitation of the game and all. So it doesn't seem like I said, knock on wood, doesn't seem like it's falling apart. We can start gently increasing. Look at that. It's scary. Look at that wobble. But yeah, we'll just keep gently increasing its range here and see what we can get. There's supposedly iron and nickel, according to my ore detector, and all that under here somewhere, so I don't know how far down it is, but we got a lot of pistons. I'm gonna figure out exactly how many we need on this. I don't want to have more than we need, because more pistons is probably more trouble. I would imagine more pistons, more problems. Isn't that song? So try to kind of keep it within reason. This is just kind of in an experimental stage still. I'm gonna end up shortening this down if necessary, because we don't just need to be drilling into a bunch of stone for no reason either. I don't know how far down resources go. I think they're kind of limited towards the surface, probably like 50 or 60 meters, so we shall see. There's something kind of mesmerizing about watching it go. Makes a really neat pattern. It's funny, the little snowflake things, like the pattern on the snow keeps changing as it drills out and stuff too. I've been increasing it in 1 meter increments just to make sure we don't overstress the thing, trying to figure out its capabilities. We'll probably end up starting to go by increments of 2 meters. I think it can easily handle that. The rotor's going at 0.2 RPM, I believe it is. So that's a pretty good speed. It seems like the drills aren't having too much trouble keeping up. The cargo stuff's completely full on this thing. It's just full of ice. So obviously going to need a lot of cargo capacity and everything. But just keep on going here. Alright, so I kind of just wanted to pull the rotor up and see what results we've got here. I believe we have not reached any sort of resource yet. We've drilled down about 8 meters worth of piston, so almost the first full piston. I wanted to see if this thing could even pull itself up with as much weight as it has. Every one of those is completely full of ice, and it seems like it's doing just fine. So that's a good development. I still have no hydrogen, so we're going to have to use the ship to get down there. But I can kind of start to see some sort of resource down there. It's either nickel or iron. The game had not been updated at this point, the new graphics. So nickel and iron look pretty similar. It's hard to tell the difference sometimes, but yeah, I think it's probably, it looks a little darker, so it's probably the iron, but we will see what happens. And there's plenty of room. I was a little bit cautious because I wasn't sure, you know, scale is always hard to kind of judge. I think the ship is about as big as 2 of those drill heads, maybe 3. So there should be more than enough room down here. I just kind of wanted to get down and see firsthand what this thing is actually doing down here. The ground is very uneven. The landing gear won't even all touch, but as long as we get one locked, we won't flip over, hopefully. Yep, some sort of something. I don't have a drill with me to tell me, but it looks like iron to me. Kind of scary down here. The hole's already deep enough. I don't think I'd be able to get out without a jetpack, so seems like this is going to work out. I'm surprised at how stable it's been. It has not really shown any indication of breaking. I know that the pistons are probably just lulling me into a false sense of security, because they've said they fixed them several times, and every time it's like, well, kind of, maybe, sort of fixed, but I don't know. Seems like it's kind of okay. So we'll just go down to the full first piston, I think, now, and see if we start. I don't really want to do it until I get some cargo up, actually, because we're going to just be wasting whatever metal that is down there. So I think we got to start figuring out how we're going to deal with the cargo situation here. It's like 421,000 liters of cargo space, I think, in a large ship, large cargo container, which sounds like a lot. But if you look here, like these drill heads are all like 63,000. Like that's probably more than one cargo container's worth of ice right there. So it's going to be a major undertaking, and I have to think that we're not going to be able to fly this ship when it's full because it's going to weigh way too much. So there's going to be a lot to consider. I'm going to have to probably have some sort of system to get cargo back to the main base from it, because I think I'm going to have to offload it before I can fly. But we will figure that stuff out in the future. Just kind of laying out where I might put some thrusters. Starting to get a bit of a platform going here. That's going to be the future chassis of the ship. Now, I just converted it to a ship because I do want to make sure that the only reason that we're having this stability is not due to the fact that it was a station. Because if it is a station, that's not all that useful. I mean, I guess I can land it and turn it into a station and then turn it back into a ship. But I wanted to make sure, as we continue these experiments, that it's actually stable in reality and not just due to its stationy nature. At this little backbone ramp here still, because there's a lot to do here, but I don't know exactly what sort of thruster configuration we're going to have. Like I said, it's going to definitely be hydrogen thrusters, but I wanted to just kind of make sure I had some inkling of how big this thing is going to be. It's going to need more than 4 thrusters, I know that, but I'm trying to get an idea of where they need to be so they clear the rotor, because I don't want my drill heads bumping into the rotor, and I'm just kind of stabilizing this here so it doesn't fall down on my head. Cut some of this stuff out and start flattening this into a platform of sorts. So I'm going to figure out where to put some cargo bays and get all that sorted. And we're just back here at main base picking up some supplies. This ship is too darn heavy. I'm going to have to unload some stuff. It can only fly when it weighs about 60,000 kilograms. A little too heavy. Too many steel plates. Going to have to drop some off. Darn it. It's going to take forever. I need more cargo capacity. I can't even get back to dock. I'm going to have to manually unload it. Alright, so I'll meet you back at the other ship. That's funny. The welding ship continues to really prove its worth. This is a lot easier. Bring a whole bunch of metal over here and just weld up a bunch of crap at once. Especially nice when you're dealing with solar panels or anything involving large steel tubes and the like. Well, a bit of a ship-like form is starting to take shape. It's very rough right now, but it's at a locked landing gear, a little bit of a platform going. So a little bit of cargo capacity started up there. Trying to make it a little more interesting than just a big box. I'm going to have to figure out some angles and whatnot. But there's a big old tower in the middle. That bridge is going to be up there. We have everything piped up now. So it should be able to transfer stuff down to where we are in these cargo containers on the main deck. They are not complete. I have one complete, but they take kind of a lot of stuff, and I didn't bring everything I needed with me, unfortunately. So a lot of work left to do. I think the drills have emptied out now, so we can start them back up and send them down the hole. I was using the lock here, which is kind of nice. And I set it to 0 degrees because we're going to need the quarters are kind of tight down there. We're going to end up needing to have the drill come back to 0. Wow, it's spinning like ridiculously fast for some reason. We need to have that's not how it's supposed to work. We need to have the thing return to 0 degrees so that there's actually room for it to pull up to as close to the hull of the ship as possible. And I think it's because, yeah, I have the lower limit set to unlimited and then the other range set to negative 360, so it's just freaking it out, I guess. Alright, so we have it descending to, I believe, the full extent of the first piston here. There are some blocks in the way that I put down there because I had to go down into the pit, and I'm hoping those will not be in the way. Hopefully we'll just destroy it. I don't know. Still don't have hydrogen, Even though we have all this ice, I haven't put a generator on board yet. A little bit of a wibble wobble going on here, back and forth. We should be able to start getting some of that nickel or iron into the ship now that we have some cargo capacity. Kind of curious to see how quickly this large cargo container fills up. Gives me a control panel right near here at least too, but I'm gonna go take down those blocks real quick, drive the ship down there because I don't have hydrogen, and cut down the blocks. I feel like they could make everything explode, so I shall do that out of an abundance of caution. Alright, so we got those blocks out of the way. We can go ahead and land this thing and then fire her up, see if we can start getting some of those nice little nuggets of metal out of there, and hopefully revolutionize my entire mining operation. I'm still going to have to do a lot of it's not manual mining, it's small ship mining. I'm still going to have to do a lot of that. I think I said in the last episode, kind of the intention is uranium and silicon and things like that will still get mined with the smaller ship. Things are needed in smaller quantities, but this is for bulk mining of iron primarily. And let's go ahead and fire up our drill friends, get our rotor unlocked, and see how she does. I don't know if it's actually in contact with the surface. I think we need to lower the piston. Be nice when I can get some buttons and stuff set up, so this is actually a little bit easier. So yeah, so we're at an 8-meter extension here. We'll go the full, I guess we're gonna go 9 out of an abundance of caution. I'm still going at 1-meter intervals here. Just want to see if we start getting some nicer stuff out of this. And yeah, we'll go the full 10 now. So that thing is extended as far as the first piston can go. It's going to be scary extending the second piston, but we will do that at some point. See if she holds together. Now, my thinking is I'm never going to have 2 pistons that are not safety locked at the same time. So if one piston's going down, it means the other one has to be locked. So we're getting iron and a lot of stone. So we're going to need to figure out something to do with the stone at some point very soon, because that's going to end up being a pretty big problem. But that means I'm going to be able to just start loading up ships and bringing them back, and we'll have iron without too much fuss. I need something that can do like bulk transport, because the small ships that I have now can only carry probably about 35 to 40,000 kilograms of an ore. And that's not even because of weight, it's just because they don't have any extra cargo capacity. Everything's full after that. So gonna have to figure out a better way to transport stuff, because I think we're gonna start getting into some real stuff here. I'm very happy. This is exciting to have something. I haven't done a big build like this in a long time, and it's kind of nice to have one that actually seems like it might end up working and really kind of be the backbone of my entire planetary-based space program, at least. Sure, once we get up into asteroids, I'll just start mining asteroids more traditionally, because it's a little bit easier, but I think everything that we make on this planet is going to be made with iron from this thing in the future, so that's kind of exciting. It looks like the 10-meter extension gets us exactly to the level of the surface as far as the top part of the drills there. That's kind of interesting. I end up falling in that hole, like I said. Get a little bit of physics slowdown. Let's fill that in, because I know that's going to end up happening. I still had not installed my new graphics cards at this point. Get a little bit of slowdown. Actually, this is probably CPU related more than graphics card related, because there's a lot of physics being done, and I think physics are still mainly done in CPU in this game rather than using the PhysX engine thing. So let's head on up, see what we've got cooking up here. Quite a lot, so that's good. We got nickel too, so it's a mix of both. So we have extended the second piston down, starting to get really into the meat of this deposit. It's kind of 50-50 split there between iron and nickel, it looks like, which is pretty cool. So I think with that, I'm pretty much gonna leave this episode here. I'm gonna mine down till we get through this deposit, see how far down it goes. I'll give you an update on that in the next episode, and keep on working on this. We have a lot of work to do to get this into a functional ship. Get a second cargo thing online, because we're really filling them up quick, but Got a lot of work to do before this is a fully functional, fully fledged thing that can move around and do things on its own. Put some nice glass here too for safety's sake, so I don't fall down there. And like, it's kind of giving me vertigo a little bit. I always feel like I'm gonna fall down and get killed by the drills, which would be unfortunate. So, anyway, thank you for watching. I will catch you next time.